Okay, so welcome everyone. Good morning, good evening, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining our webinar. My name is Simona Muntele. I'm a solution architect at Hubway Connect, and I'm gonna be your host today together with Joao. So welcome everyone. I am based in Romania, in Europe, and I am here today with Joao to discuss how to perform analytics with OutSystems using Hubway Connect. So Joao is our head of products. He is based in Australia, in Sydney. He is a veteran in the OutSystems community and a respected MVP. So I wanted to have Joao here to provide some context, to share some success stories, and also to discuss a few scenarios involving analytics on top of OutSystems. So the session today will be around 30 to 35 minutes. And we're going to go over a couple of topics. So we already started the introduction. We're going to go over the strategy to reduce the cost of analytics. And also we're going to discuss why analytics is important. Then we're going to do a short introduction to our solution, to Hubway Connect, and why to adopt analytics on top of OutSystems. The second part is a deep dive into Hubway Connect Analytics, and that means discussing what are the challenges of reporting that we can find in OutSystems. And Joao will show us the overall architecture and how Hubway can connect with various analytics tools by leveraging the OData protocol. Then we're going to go over to some use cases and to some real success stories. We're going to do a couple of demos, and then we're going to open up for questions for everyone. So if you want to send us questions, you can already do it. Just go over to the button on the bottom right and send us your questions, and we will try to answer every one of them. So, welcome again. We're going to start with why we think analytics is very important in today's business environment. And as we can see on this slide, the benefits are evident. So it helps with decision making, it can enhance customer experience and satisfaction, it can optimize processes by identifying the bottlenecks, so thus increasing the operational efficiency, and it can give you a competitive advantage that will drive innovation and growth. So all of these factors emphasize the importance of doing analytics, and for all the OutSystem customers, it makes sense to include it in the daily business agenda. But how do we get to this benefit? So in order to achieve all of these benefits that analytics bring, we need to have a couple of things in place from the beginning. So one of the most important is to have access to the data, and then to have the necessary tools to be able to perform operations on the data and analysis. Also, it's important to have expertise to process and interpret the result. In OutSystems, for the moment, there are capabilities for creating reports, but we need to note it here. It's mostly operational reports. So you can use data, widgets, charts, tables, PDF within the platform's development environment. But if we're talking about fully fledged analytics, in order to benefit from this, there are a couple of more things necessary. So we need dedicated analytics tools. We need a way to make data available to all the data users, or all the data analysts. So we need to enable data democratization, which is a concept that means that everybody that is relevant has access to the data, and there is no gatekeepers. And we also need to offer secure access to the OutSystems database. So there are a couple of challenges in doing reporting in OutSystems, and I would like to invite Joao to give us a bit of his perspective on what are the challenges and what are the solutions of these challenges.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Simona, for the introduction. Yeah, so look, from experience, we've been involved in a number of OutSystems projects and delivering applications in all levels of complexity and in criticality. So the most recurring challenges when it comes to adding reporting capabilities on top of OutSystems applications is always related to four different elements. It has dependency on lengthy development life cycles, meaning whenever business needs to have access to information or make informed decisions, build reports and dashboard on top of the data sitting in the OutSystems database, they would need to involve developers to build data extraction functionalities, or even built-in reports in the OutSystems platform. And that all relies on a development life cycle. You need to design, you need to involve developers to build logic, sometimes complex logic. You need to involve testers in order to have a solid release that will provide the business with the capability they need. The solution for that is to empower the business to have access to information they can self-serve from. The idea of self-service reporting is that the data belongs to the business, and that's the core concept of data democratization. Is to have the business to give the business the ability to explore their own data. The other aspect, which is a recurrent challenge, is it's based on costly build efforts. We're referring to specialists, to a team of developers, a team of testers. We know the difficulties that any OutSystems customers have to build a strong team with the expertise necessary to deliver value to the business. And we want to avoid that by giving the business the ability to explore dedicated analytics tools to give them that aspect of data exploration without relying on normally expensive labor work. These dedicated analytics tools have advanced capabilities to help the business openly explore the data. So we're not sitting in a world where requirements need to be well defined and groomed and specified before reports get built. Business need to have the ability to explore the data openly. That has been the #1 priority of the new analytics world. In other terms, there's also the challenge of having value held up on the backlog, meaning while you have a development team focused on building repetitive logic to have data extracted or reports built on top of the platform, you have value that is sitting on the backlog, waiting to be delivered, waiting to be implemented. Meaning, whenever reports become important, you keep all the features at a lower priority in the backlog. So from a software management perspective, a software delivery perspective, that's been a significant challenge. And the idea is that we have development effort focused on higher value functionalities. So imagine that you need to expand a pre-existing system to have a new module, new capability added. That capability is important to unlock new functions in the business that cannot be put on hold, right? So the idea is that we have less of the repetitive effort in the backlog and more of the strategic value delivered. And last but not least, it's about timing or time to market. So a poor market timing has been pointed as one of the biggest reasons why IT projects fail. IT has been having a big challenge in trying to deliver to its promise to businesses across the world. And one of the biggest reasons is poor time to market. We strongly believe that with a streamlined data integration pipeline, businesses can self-serve They can use specialized tools. They can reduce the development effort based on reporting and analytics, and they can have a streamlined data process that will allow that new applications can hit the market with reporting and analytics capability without added effort or investment. So that's the idea of being able to come to market quicker, having applications available quicker, without the added burden of adding reporting, lengthy dev cycles on top of reporting. I'm going to hand it back over to you, Simona, to discuss a bit of how we do the bridge to solve those gaps.
Thank you, João. So yes, thank you for showing us what are the challenges and the solutions, the ideal solutions for this. So the approach that we are proposing, we call it the Hubway Connect approach, is ensuring, firstly, the access to the OutSystem data from popular analytics tools, from Power BI, from Tableau, etc. So what Hubway Connect does is that it prepares the data and makes it safely available via APIs. And then popular analytics tools can connect to the data. By leveraging Hubway Connect, there are multiple benefits. One of them is that the data integration process is streamlined, is improved. There is the development cost and time, which are greatly reduced. So the time to market is reduced. And also the data users have real-time access to critical information. Data democratization is ensured. So when we compare the two ways to do analytics, we can see that the traditional way to do it has a couple of more steps. And it involves a lot of effort in the development phase. So from steps 3 to 4, 2, 3, 4 actually, we see that means a development cycle. That also means cost and effort with development, with testing. So with Hubway, we want to remove the cost and the effort to do the development cycle, and we want to streamline this process. So what you need to do in a no-code way is just gather the requirements. The API configuration is very easy to do. It's very simple. The interface is intuitive, and we will show you that in a moment in the demo. And then you are ready to build the dashboards and the reports. So it's very, very quick and easy. So getting to build them is straightforward because there are a couple of key features of Hubway Connect that I want to mention here. This is just a high-level overview. So Hubway Connect, think of it as an OData connector for OutSystems because it exposes the data from the OutSystem database by leveraging the OData protocol. And the exposure of data is done through RESTful API, so standard-based API. So exposing the data is easy and fast. It just takes a couple of seconds, a couple of clicks because of the highly intuitive interface and the fact that it's based on the OutSystem structure. So Hubway Connect has been built with best practices in mind, and it is based on industry standards. Hubway Connect has built-in governance and compliance. Sorry. So there is robust access control with user groups that can have read-only or read and write permissions in the API. There is audit control for each project, and then auditing reports to track the changes in the APIs. It is secure by design. Hubway Connect offers multiple end-user authentication mechanisms with industry standard identity providers such as Google and Microsoft Azure. And we call Hubway Connect an OutSystem enterprise API gateway because you can expose real-time data through highly performant standard-based RESTful APIs. And you can leverage the OData protocol for data retrieval strategies. So if we look deeper into Hubway Connect analytics, we can see that Hubway Connect is a great tool for enabling analytics with OutSystems data. So one of the key features of Hubway is that it follows best practices. We mentioned this in the previous slide as well, because it's very important for us that integration follows best practices, and it's based on a widely used protocol, the OData protocol. OData protocol is already an industry standard. With the APIs of Hubway Connect providing multiple capabilities out of the box, like sorting, pagination, filtering. This is made possible through the OData protocol commands. So data can be structured, it can be divided into subsets, it can be sorted, it can be filtered. So Hubway Connect makes it easy to integrate, as most reporting platforms and analytics tools support the OData feed option out of the box. By leveraging these features, there are many benefits for doing Hubway Connect analytics, for using Hubway Connect to enable the analytics on top of OutSystems. Firstly, Hubway Connect removes the cost, time, and effort associated with developing APIs to access system data. The APIs are very easy to configure in Hubway Connect, so the development cost and effort is removed. Secondly, it eliminates the reporting reliance on development cycles, and it frees up capacity for developers to work on features that improve customer satisfaction and generate revenue. Hubway Connect enables bringing together multiple data sources in data staging or in another reporting tool. And by doing this, it speeds up customized reporting, and it ensures for the users that they can have real-time access to the data. So with all of this in mind, if we look into the architecture overview of Hubway Connect and OutSystems, we can see a couple of scenarios where data is exposed from our system with the help of Hubway Connect. So I would like to invite Joao to walk us through these scenarios and tell us more about how these use cases are performed.
Of course. So yeah, in the diagram you're seeing on the screen, we try to bring two different important aspects. On the left-hand side, you see the two key components of the solution. So Hubway Connect is based on a Builder interface, which is a web application that will run on a non-production environment. That's where an analyst can author the APIs. See the Builder as the authoring interface. They're going to create their APIs in a no-code manner, interact with the OutSystems metadata. They're going to configure security parameters, multi-tenancy. They're going to be able to create data aggregations, rename attributes analysis, define user groups that can have access to the APIs. And then with the push of a button in a one-click approach, they can have the API structured, published, or deployed to the production environment, which is where it's made available in runtime. The runtime API leverages the OData protocol, as Simona shared before. And the APIs are made available for a number of different scenarios. We highlighted 3 scenarios here, which are the key use cases where we include Hubway Connect on. The scenario number 1 is an enterprise data staging scenario. That's normally important for when applications handle a high volume of data, or they need to handle enterprise scenarios, a complex portfolio, multiple applications as a source for a data staging pipeline. In this scenario, the data is staged with the use of a ETL tool. The data is staged in a data staging zone, which is where it can be pulled out for data visualization and analytics scenarios. So you can have tools like Power BI, like Excel, connecting to a data staging, which can be a file repository or even a relational database. And that's for enterprise scenarios. The key benefit here is to have the reporting side, collecting data from an isolated data staging so that it doesn't bring impact to the runtime environments, to production environments. In the scenario number 2, we're talking about ad hoc reporting. So in less mission critical applications or when you don't need to handle high volumes of data, you can have data visualization tools connected straight to the OData APIs. Most of the data engineering platforms available in the market at the moment, they provide connectors for OData APIs. We have been working on a number of scenarios where we have Power BI, Tableau, Excel. They all connecting to APIs, dumping the data to their internal data repository or data cache, and then analytics teams working on reports and visualization, dashboards. A bit of that is what Simone is going to demonstrate today. And last but not least, a scenario that we're not going to cover today in details, but that's a scenario of interoperability, which is when you need to have your OutSystems data available through APIs so that external applications can consume the data. We have been involved in a number of scenarios where we have industry API gateways being used to be that bridge between applications. And they can at the same time consume and provide all data elements. So we have been using with tools like Dell Boomi, APIM, Microsoft APIM, and a number of other scenarios, or even in scenarios where we have client applications connected directly to the OData APIs. A good example of that is we have been exploring how we're connecting scenarios where ODC apps need to coexist with O11 apps. We actually built an accelerator for ODC. It's available in the Forge. And users can develop ODC applications that can quickly consume O11 apps. So that's an interesting scenario. We demonstrated that in a previous webinar as well. I'm pretty sure that the recording is available somewhere on the web. And that's a very important scenario I'd like to highlight. I think there was an interesting question. Someone asked about supporting to OAuth. Yes, we have support to OAuth in security. Actually, we support 3 different mechanisms in terms of authentication. The APIs protected by Hubway can use basic authentication, which is the default mechanism. They can support OAuth, normally used for interoperability scenarios. And in terms of OAuth, we can support any identity provider available in the market. And we also have a custom authentication mechanism where an OutSystems developer can build a module that will validate authentication. That module can be configured as a plugin into Hubway, and Hubway can leverage custom built logic to handle security, to handle authentication and authorization layer. So I hope that information was clear enough. I'd like to bring a real scenario from a data ingestion pipeline we helped one of our customers build. In fact, this was one of our first users of Hubway Connect. They actually were our early adopters. They helped us shape the vision for the product. We built the first scenarios, the first functionalities, having their use case in mind. And what we built for them was, this client already had a complex portfolio. They had over 10 applications running in production, and they had this enterprise grade data ingestion pipeline based on a number of AWS services. So from a data ingestion, data staging perspective, they used Amazon S3 buckets. which is where they dumped the unstructured data. Then they made use of a tool called AWS Glue, which is an ETL tool on the cloud that would connect to a number of different data sources, dump the data in S3 buckets, and then they had a number of step functions that would run the load from the unstructured data source into their data warehouse. In this case, they used the Snowflake running on the cloud as well. And step functions would do the transport between the multiple different buckets into the data warehouse. That allowed them to have much more flexibility in terms of data transformations. The fact that they use the staging with unstructured data allowed them to have not only data from multiple sources, but also to have better resilience in terms of data structure changes. So imagine that a transactional application in the source would have a database change. That wouldn't break the data pipeline. Data would still be dumped in the staging zone with any changes automatically reflected, and then the analytics team would handle the historical changes, because that's another important dimension when it comes to analytics. Sometimes you created a new field, which is going to become a new analytics dimension, and it's valid from a specific point in time onwards. This also needs to be reflected in historical data warehouses. And as I pointed out before, they're leveraging the best of both worlds. They can quickly spin off new applications, new OutSystems applications on the left-hand side as a data source. The way to make the data available is automatically available because Hubway is a business agnostic solution. You can connect any OutSystems application in it, and the APIs are made available automatically. And they can also mesh up the data from all the different platforms. Salesforce and SAP was a big example of that. They already had all the key business concepts exposed from these two off-the-shelf platforms using pretty much the same approach, configuration/no-code based approach. And on the right-hand side, in the end of the pipe, they had the visualization tool. So they used Tableau as their corporate dashboard creation tool, which would connect in the historical data warehouse, Snowflake, and allow the analytics team, along with the business, to create all the custom-built dashboards, because they already had all the information available. They weren't relying on development life cycles. I'd like to bring us to some success stories, and that has been part of our experience over the last few years in implementing Hubway with some of our customers. The first example is from Force Management, US-based company. They joined us with Hubway to help them in their product vision. They have a B2C, a business to consumer application that runs on the cloud. It's a product called Ascender, and it's an employee experience platform. It's a multi-tenancy application that needs to provide data to a number of clients all over the United States. And they wanted to provide their customers with self-service reports. So the way they could go about that is by providing a safe, secure data feed with which each of their clients could benefit from consuming data and then modeling the data or building their own reports out of that data feeds. So they use Power BI for data visualization. They create pre-built dashboards with Power BI, and they provide those dashboards to their customers. It's part of their service. And they use Hubway Connect to expose that data via OData APIs. Hubway supports multi-tenancy out of the box, and it will make sure that with the authentication layer on top of the APIs, users are going to see the information they are allowed to. The key benefits for our customer was elimination of development work. Now the dev team is focused on delivering new features, which in a competitive market, SaaS, cloud-based products, adding value, adding functionalities to the product makes a difference. So now the developers are able to incorporate those functionalities to the product, while the reporting zone is pretty much handled, and they have business users, SMEs, or domain experts handling the area. So they now believe that they're focused on value to the customers instead of repetitive, tedious data extraction logic. That's how they can drive more value towards the clients. On another scenario, we have the GPT Group, an Australian organization. They have a large application portfolio, over 10 different apps in production. These apps are OutSystems applications, but they have an enterprise, very mature, robust data ingestion pipeline, which benefits from multiple data sources, not only OutSystems. So in terms of solution, they adopted Tableau for data visualization, reports, and dashboards. Snowflake for data warehouse and analytics. Snowflake is a top of mind solution in the market of data engineering tools. And they use AWS, a combination of different solutions and services for data loading and transformation. And then Hubway Connect, again, as a centralized data source for all their OutSystems applications. The key benefits have to do with data democratization. With this tool set, the client now puts on the business the power to explore their data. They don't need to be reliant on lengthy development lifecycle. Advanced data engineering tools for data transformation, it's really, really powerful to use specialized tools in the market. Snowflake allows the client to do very complex business analysis. And by the way, adding even AI and some predictive models to their analytics. And the development cycles reduced significantly, because not only developers would need to build a repetitive logic for data extraction, but there was an additional burden in terms of maintenance. Whenever new functionality or new data structures were added or changed in the solutions, there would need to be refactoring and some more logic added to data extraction. Now it's not necessary anymore. And a third scenario I would like to share today is about another client of ours, Certis Security Group. They are an Australian, Singaporean-based company. They had the need to handle a high volume of data. Over millions of transactions per week were created in their field services application. They used to stage data for analytics purposes in a very robust combination of solutions. They have the staging sitting in Microsoft SQL Server, but they used to use some old school ETL techniques in tooling. And then they challenged us to work together in a new solution based on Hubway. We wanted to reduce for them the total cost of ownership and have less solutions involved in the entire ecosystem. And in that process, we built an add-on on top of Hubway Connect. We call it Hubway Extract, which on top of the governance layer provided by Hubway Connect, with all the APIs and the API structure, Hubway Extract is able to proactively extract the data out of OutSystems and load in external data repositories. At the moment, we're supporting SQL Server as endpoint for data loading, and it supports a number of different methods for data synchronization. So it supports full loading, incremental loading, delta syncs. It manages all the basic functionalities, as in schema validation, proactive warning in terms of data structure changes, and it also handles the data structure in the destination endpoint. So the creation of the data structures is automatically handled by the tool itself, and it's an add-on on top of Hubway Connect. So the user experience is pretty much is very seamless, and Certis has been using on top of that volume shared before, which is a good segue for me to handle another question that we got through the channel. How does it handle performance? Look, we have been doing some very robust benchmark testing in terms of performance. We've been testing with over millions of records, data chunk synchronization with some ramp-up scenarios. And we actually have an article available in our help center. We're going to share the link later. And in our help center, we did a benchmark comparison in where we're comparing in ramp-up scenarios and load testing scenarios. We compared the response times of Hubway Connect APIs against the raw APIs, the ones built by OutSystems. And the results were even surprising for the products for our engineering team, on where with our optimization, we could reach better numbers than the ones of native APIs built in OutSystems. We did make use of some good optimization techniques in order to handle high volumes of data. All right, so feel free to drop any more questions, guys. I'm going to hand it back over to Simona now for a bit of a demonstration, the solution. Simona.
Okay, thank you. So for today, we have a couple of demos. Unfortunately, Google Meet has some issues when going through more windows back and forth. So as my colleague Joao likes to say, we don't want to anger the demo gods. So I recorded yesterday the demos. So I'm going to share them with you in a moment. So the first one is a Power BI demo. And what we want to do here is we want to get the data out of the OutSystems database into Power BI and create a dashboard with it. So as we can see here, this is the Hubway Connect builder. These are a couple of projects that have been already created. So these are all APIs. And what we want to do here is basically just create a new project. I see you can't see actually my screen. You don't see it moving, right? Do you see it moving?
No, it's kind of frozen or paused.
Okay, then let me just do it in a different way. Okay. I really hope this works. So as mentioned, these are the projects that we have already created in Power BI. And what we want to do, so these are the APIs. We want to create a new project, and we're going to give it a name. Let's call it the webinar demo. And then we're just going to click Create Project. And what this will bring, it will bring a snapshot of the project. And then we have here a couple of the details in the overview page. So we can see the service URL, we can see the project name, we can see the service name. But what we want to do is we want to add a couple of entities. So we want to get to the OutSystems database and get a couple of entities into our project. So then we can have that data exposed in Power BI as well. So we normally use order management module. This is a demo type of module, and you can find it on Forge. And we want to get a couple of entities from here. So we're going to select a couple of them, and then we're going to add them to our project. You can also add them by clicking on the plus button on the right, so one by one. But for the moment, I think we're going to do well with this couple of entities. So now we want to go back to the service URL and get that service URL into Power BI so that we have access to the data and we can build our dashboard. So if we go over to Power BI, we will see the Get Data tab. So we're going to go there and we're going to select the OData Feed option. And then we're going to paste our service URL here. To note, I am already authenticated into Power BI with basic authentication by using my OutSystems credential. So now Power BI has access to the entities exposed by Hubway Connect, and we're just going to select a couple of them for our project. So we don't need to select all of them. We can if we want to, but we're just going to select a couple of them to ensure we have the data loaded into Power BI. Now, this will take a couple of seconds until it gets all the data from these three entities. And afterwards, we can really quickly start building our dashboard. So on the right, we have the visualization pane. And what we want to do here is we want to build a dashboard showing the total amount of orders categorized by the order status. So we're going to go ahead and create a pie chart. We see on the left our entities and then the attributes for each of the entities. So we're going to select for the pie chart, we want to select the label from order status, and we want to categorize, and we want to add the total amount as well. So as you can see, it's very easy to create a pie chart. We have all the orders, all the sum of total amount of orders by label. We can also show it as a table. So it's very easy. It just took a couple of minutes to build this. And this is what you can do by leveraging Hubway Connect on top of OutSystems. So this was the first demo. We have another demo as well. The other demo is with, let me just present it again. Okay.
Simona, in the meantime, just while you prepared, just wanted to highlight, we just posted a link to a trial sign up on our cloud, just to answer one of the questions that came through the chat. And with this link, you can sign up for free for a trial on our cloud. So we're going to be able to create your own account and explore a sample module with some sample data available, so that you have the idea of the how easy it is to create the APIs. So just refer to the link on the chat. Thanks, Simona.
Okay, so the second demo is an Excel demo. So we're gonna have the same use case in terms of visualization, but we're gonna do it in a slightly different way. So I'm back in Hubway Connect, and I am in an already existing project. So we can see here the project is already published. So I have a couple of entities exposed. So I can't really modify this version. So what I want to do here is I want to go to version number 2. And version number 2 is in draft mode. So then I can add entities, or I can do some modification. In my case, I want to create a custom entities. So a custom entity basically enables a project owner to expose entities, so to merge entities and expose them as a flat output. So you can think of them as virtual entities, a combination of entities, and I think the best analogy for this is a view. Hubway Connect allows you to create these custom entities. Now, if I go ahead and create one, I have to choose a primary entity. And in my case, I will choose order as the primary entity. Now, Hubway, what will do is it will suggest entities that are linked to my primary entities. So I'm going to just deselect the other entities, and I'm just going to leave order status because that's what I'm interested in. And on the right, we see the fields of each entity. We can filter them, we can select them, we can unselect them so that they are not visible in the output. there are a number of things you can do here. Then we're going to name our custom entities how we want. I'm going to say order by order status, and I'm going to save it. Now, what I want to do is I want to go back to the overview, get the service URL, and go to Excel. Now, in Excel, I have to go to the Data tab and paste my, I'm going to select the OData feed option. Then I'm going to paste my service URL. Again, here as well, I'm authenticated with basic authentication with my OutSystems credentials. And I'm going to click OK. And now Excel has access to the data exposed by Hubway Connect. I can see here all the entities that are available in the project, and I'm going to select the one that I'm interested in, the custom entity created, which is order by order status. So when I click on load, this data will be loaded in Excel, and we will have access to everything in these two entities, in order and in order status, that are merged in a custom entity. Now I'm going to go over to doing a pivot chart. And what I see on the left are the attributes of the two entities. As mentioned, a custom entity provides the output in a flat table. So the top attributes are the attributes for the order, and then the bottom one are the attributes from the order status entity. So what I want to do is I want to create the same type of visualization as in Power BI. So I'm going to get the label from order status, and then I'm going to get from the order entity the total amount, and I'm going to add that to the value. So then I can see I created a pivot chart with the sum of the total amount of orders, and these are categorized by the order status. I can see also the table. I have a pivot table there with the sums. So as you can see, it's very easy. It's very fast to create this type of visualization in Excel as well. So these are the benefits of using Hubway Connect on top of OutSystems to perform analytics. So these were the demos. Now, if we go back to our presentation, if there are any other questions, I know Joao addressed the where I can test it. So basically, you can go on the link, and I can also show you this. 1 second. So you can go on the link, and then you can just try online our solution. We have a trial for you waiting. If there are any other questions, we can have a couple of minutes for them. I didn't check yet whether we have. Yeah, go ahead.
One point that is quite recurrent, Simone, if I may. The two most common questions we always get answered are related to security, which I addressed here, and performance. So in terms of security, normally what clients ask is what kind of authentication mechanism supported out of the box. And I just replied, we support the basic authentication method and OAuth as well, more for interoperability scenarios. And also your users can create their own customized authentication logic built in OutSystems or based on an extension or legacy code as well. And from a performance perspective, there's always two questions. One is, does it hold high volume of data? How does it handle big database structures? And we just shared the link with the performance benchmark testing we've ran using a ramp-up scenario to over 5 million records. And the response times are significantly impressive. And there's also very common questions still related to performance, which is, does it have the ability to cap the result set? Does it limit the records returned in the output? And the answer is absolutely yes. By default, there's a protection mechanism that will define the max number of records as a threshold. And irrespectively of the filters used in the request of the API, the number of records is kept, it's limited. But the users can also use the OData protocol, which is a language, it's a programming language. They can use OData to build filters on the URL of the API. And some of these filters are related to the amount of records returned in the result set of the API. This can also be informed in design time while consuming the APIs. And on the client side, developers can even build pagination scenarios, bringing smaller chunks of data from the API without the need to worry about performance on the server side. So these both scenarios, security and performance, they are the most common questions that we get asked. And we have written a number of articles as well that detail studies and real case scenarios where we applied answers to both these aspects.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying. In regards to the trial, we actually have for all the registrants of the webinar, we want to offer another trial. So on top of the cloud trial that you can try anytime, we want to offer a free trial on your own environment to test the solution. So please let us know if you want to benefit from this. And I think we are almost on time. Joao, do you want to add anything else, or do we thank our participants and wish them a good day?
Yeah, absolutely. And to thank of all the attention, we're gonna make all this information available to all the registrants. We're really excited to bring the product to the community, to the OutSystems community with the free trial. So we hope that with that, developers and tech leads out there will get a good hold of how the product can help the projects and design better solutions. So we're here to help, guys. Feel free to reach out to our team and let's develop and deliver better solutions.
Thank you. So this meeting, this webinar we'll have a recording and we will share that with everyone. Thank you for joining. It's our pleasure to host these meetings, and we promise we will host from time to time others with different topics depending on what the community wants. Thank you again. I wish you a good day, and yeah, have a good one.